As human beings, it's rather natural for us to be a bit hesitant in asking people for favours, especially people we don't really know. So imagine being a metal detectorist and having to walk up to a complete stranger with a shotgun under his arm and ask if we can walk around his property and dig holes in his fields. That takes a bit of courage. Therefore, fearing no is the inevitable answer we're going to get back, why bother? I'll just stick with group digs or maybe going on a beach. Lack of confidence is definitely the biggest issue in getting land permission. So therefore I'm going to show you several ways over the last 7 years that I've got permission, and I hope you find something which you can adapt. First of all, you need to realise that not everyone's going to say yes anyway. As soon as you accept that, the better, you're well on your way. But it would help greatly if you were clean, tidy, and you didn't have breath that would skin a badger at 100 metres. Even if a landowner was going to say yes, they don't want any old Mickey Mouse walking across their land digging holes everywhere. One of the things you should remember is that most landowners are nice, kind, family people like you and me, and therefore if they say no, it may only be about your timing. No, now, doesn't always mean no, not ever. Also remember, of course, never take a no personally. Just move on to the next one. So now that you realise it's all about 1. Asking a favour, 2. You're a complete stranger, and 3. About timing, you can see where the problems lie ahead. But now you know all that, here is 1 or 2 tips. If you're not very good at approaching and talking to people, strangers, and asking for favours, then take somebody or join up with somebody who is gifted in that way. If you're not a female detectorist, take one with you, or take a lady with you. Number 2, if you find anything at all that you can do to help the landowner, maybe you've found a sheep that's escaped and you're doing a door knock just to make sure that people haven't lost any sheep. That's a way to get interaction started. If you find anything interesting at all in the land which might interest the neighbouring farmer, like a dog tag, which is what happened to me, and it happened to belong to the neighbours who had previously said no to me because I could never catch the landowner and his wife kept giving me a flea in my ear. I took an old dog tag from about 30 years ago and it got my foot in the door, and I did get permission. So what I'm really saying is to be aware of your surroundings, your environment, and the opportunities around you which others may not see, which will enable you to at least approach another landowner. So what else can you do if you're a bit of an extrovert and you don't mind talking to people? Well, why not talk to a captive audience? What I'm saying is, why don't you give a 20-minute talk to a small group of people? Take some of your best and most interesting finds with you, hand them out during the little talk that you're doing so people can actually touch them and handle them and feel them. 2,000-year-old objects in someone's hands can be quite an amazing feeling. Do you remember when you found something really old and you had it in your hands? That's the reaction you'll get from those, and they'll ask you questions and interact with you. And maybe you're thinking now, well, who am I going to talk to? What am I going to say? Well, what do you talk about when you're talking to other people who are interested in your hobby? You will get the hang of this very quickly, and 20 minutes will fly by. And the great thing is, you'll often get lunch or an evening meal. You'll get bought a drink. You'll often get paid your expenses just for being there. I must admit, I use this as my favourite technique. I don't mind talking to a group of people. I don't get nervous, I don't stumble over any words, and I really like to engage the people with me in conversation. My favourite is the Rotary Club. The Rotary Club, like a lot of other small groups, are desperate for speakers. Usually once a week, sometimes just once a month, to bring somebody outside to talk about something interesting. Okay, so now you've got the hang of this. You're an extrovert. You don't mind talking to people, but who do you talk to? Well, just go through the internet and look for clubs. Groups of people who meet on a regular basis. Now, I've mentioned Rotary. That is a male and female business type club who meet in every city, in every country, all over the world. But you've also got historical societies, sports clubs, business breakfast clubs and lunch clubs. What I'm saying is use your imagination and contact them. You could even, if you wish, go a step further and write a small article just every few months for your local newspaper, and people will start contacting you. So just think outside the box. Use your own imagination. In fact, the world is your oyster. There are so many clubs out there who are desperate to find entertaining speakers, to have a hands-on experience with our history, our past, and you can be the one that educates them. So don't be like the normal numpty who just can't get permission and is always moaning about it. We know why they can't get permission. You're different. That's what I do, and that's what you could do. Now, at the end of the day, there is only one way to get permission to dig on someone's land, and that is to ask them. But it's up to you to decide which way you want to do it. Do you go door to door? If you can do that, that's great. If you can't, don't forget, take somebody with you who is better at it than you. I don't know why, but ladies do seem to be better than blokes, unless you're exceptionally skillful in language. And I know a numpty friend of mine, yes, he is a numpty friend, and I'm quite sure he wouldn't mind me calling him that, who can get permission just like that. And I so envy him. But at the end of the day, if you need to resort to doing talks so people get to know you, can feel and handle and learn more about your finds and what you do as a hobby, it becomes easier at the end of that meeting for them to approach you. You give them a card with your number on and they will call you. One of my best ever permissions happened just like that. Now, if you did enjoy this video, you feel that there is some mileage for you in the information I've shared with you for 2021, then please leave a thumbs up. It's something you can do which means nothing to you, means everything to me. You haven't got to click a subscribe button, which means a longer term commitment. Just a thumbs up will be absolutely brilliant. So whatever you do and however you decide to approach a landowner in 2021, please keep safe, and hopefully the pandemic we're all suffering at the moment will be over and we can all have much more fun together and enjoy the hobby. So keep safe, and I'll speak to you soon.
Stephen digs stuff up and pimps it up so you guys can wear it.
To get one of my sterling silver hat pins, why don't you join now and become a channel member?